Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to kind of get into a rant, if I could, for you guys, with you guys here. Ranting is not one of my favorite things to do, but it's one of my most prolific hobbies, and so I think this time around I can find something intelligent and critical to say about it, not only for the benefit of the community, but also to, spurn discussion and maybe to change some perspectives, hopefully. But we can't walk on water here. We're not Thanos. So what is this rant going to be about? Well, I was inspired by, partially inspired by some stuff that went down on the Reddit, but I was more so inspired by some guys, some YouTubers who covered the recent Hearthstone announcement for the upcoming update with the Heroic Tavern Brawl stuff. If you don't know about that, you can go and check it out. It's really not important to this video specifically. I'm just trying to explain to you guys how this idea came to be. But basically, what I want to talk about is announcements when Netmarble, or this kind of applies to any game company that releases announcements for new content ahead of the content being released, which is pretty much par of the course. But specifically, not the announcement itself, but the community reaction to the announcement. And it's something that has gotten more, negative, I think, over the years, and also a lot louder and more, hard to ignore because of the way the internet works, because of how game developers can't really ignore people on the internet and their opinions. Like, there's a lot of sway and a lot of impact that your opinion has on the internet, especially when you're in a mob of people all saying the same shit, whether it's positive or negative, correct or incorrect. It can have some very real impacts on developers, on the way that games get patched and stuff like that. There are multiple instances of games being tweaked or even revamped, characters being added solely because the community whined or begged or asked for it for long enough. So it's important to establish that your voice definitely does ring out. It's not as hollow as you think it is. And your voice definitely does carry some weight to it, especially when you can articulate your opinions coherently, either verbally, the way I fail to do, or through text, if you're one of the text warriors that likes to troll on Reddit. Anyways, so what I'm basically getting at is, and what I want to kind of rant about is negative community. Fuck, why do you always pull me out of my 6-star when you're rising up to do your bullshit? Like, this is not PvE. Anyways, what I really want to touch on, guys, specifically, but it has some general application, is the recent announcement for the new Shadowland King of the Hill mode. And so the Shadowland King of the Hill mode is kind of like the top of the pops. It's it's the grand tournament. It's the top of the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The little skin on the top of your soup when you leave it out for too long. Basically, the big boys and girl who play Future Fight are gonna have an extra opportunity to fight each other out in the Shadowland King of the Hill mode. And now, announcement details or announcement wordage aside, because granted, some of the criticism against Netmarble is that the way that they announced this upcoming feature, or the way that they explained why they introduced it, was kind of negative, or didn't really take the community feedback into consideration, because obviously there are plenty of people playing this game who can't clear Shadowland, so they're not going to be able to get to that 25 plus bracket where the King of the Hill mode will take place. And this is very similar to something like killing Infinity Thanos. This is very similar to being in the top 100 for either Timeline or Battle World. This is very similar to even Alliance tournaments. And now I know I had a negative reaction initially to Alliance tournaments, and I'm not trying to contradict myself here. I just think there's a difference between a game mode that's supposed to be intentionally inclusive but fails to be, or includes people in a very fake way, the way that I feel like cheering is kind of a fake way to include the rest of the community, versus a game mode that's specifically designed as end game content. And this is where the rant kind of has the most meat and potatoes. All of the game modes and all of the content in a game can't just be for new players. And this is the argument that really irritates me, that I see from a lot of people, where they're saying like, oh, the game's already hard enough, why are you introducing more difficult content? Well, you're introducing more difficult content because everyone is advancing day by day. It's not like players are stagnant where, you know, this game requires some skill, but most of the skill involved in this game is actually just either money or time. It's not like a card game or some kind of puzzle game or some kind of first-person shooter where you're going to hone your skills by remembering what card they played 7 turns ago, or, you know, getting your Twitch reflexes up to speed and snorting a lot of coke before you play, you know, CS:GO or whatever you go gambling for skins. I don't really know. But anyways, this game is basically one where you either spend time or money or both, and then bada bing, bada boom, you can play with the big boys. It's really not that difficult. The concept is not one that really fits in with traditional games that require skill caps and that, you know, necessarily need a balanced amount of content for both new and veteran players. A game like this just absolutely does not need that. And I would argue that we already have way too much like noob-friendly gameplay. I mean, timeline is a fucking joke if you play it on auto, especially in like the bronze and fucking Kappa leagues. Story mode is a fucking joke. That's a joke. People who I still see saying like, oh, my yellow jacket can clear 10-8 on auto with no teammates. Wow, dude. Wow. Okay, I've said this before, guys. Fucking Crossbones can clear 10-8, all right? Fucking Crossbones. You know, special missions are a fucking joke. Daily missions are a fucking joke. Villain Siege is a fucking joke. So, how many game modes? There are actually more easy game modes than there are hard game modes, I would argue. And even on top of that, like I said, everyone is constantly advancing in the game. So, to kind of whine or bemoan hard content just because you can't do it, first of all, we don't even know what the King of the Hill game mode looks like. So anyone who's whining about it, what the fuck are you whining about? There's nothing to see. All you know is the like 3 or 4 lines of text that Netmarble gave us. You're gonna base your whole, you know, logical, intelligent, well-rounded opinion on 3 or 4 sentences. You sound like a lunatic, okay? And I don't mean you sound like a lunatic per se, but I mean you're just not making, first of all, you're not making a coherent argument, and you're not making an argument that can be backed up by anything, because there's literally nothing to judge the game mode on as of yet, for one. For two, just because you can't play in a game mode, or just because you can't excel or complete that game mode, doesn't mean that it's not a good game mode for the players who can do it, even if those players are, you know, in the top 5 or 10% of the people playing this game. So I really dislike when I hear those kinds of arguments and those kinds of comments like, oh, I mean, guys, if you look back in the history of this game, at every single point when new, harder content was introduced, there were people in the community who bemoaned it. And I'm not saying that those are the same people that come around every time. These are not the same, you know, groundhogs that pop their fucking head out. But some of them are, you know, veteran warthogs or veteran whiners, and some of them are newly converted whiners. But the point kind of remains. The fact is the same. You know, when we had the Black Order characters come out in March, I remember the fucking hatred. People, I'm quitting this game. This is the worst shit ever. This content is too hard. Who expects people to play this kind of stuff? How can I be so good at this game? Oh, my phone is not good enough. You know, my wife left me. My toaster's broken. Oh, my life's just so shit. And now people are like, huh, you know, fucking Black Order's a joke, man. Like, give me some more. Then we had, you know, Shadowland introduced. A lot of people flipped their bird at Shadowland. They were like, holy shit, 25 levels Netmarble? Come on, bro. So it's like it's never ending, and it's like, what are you complaining for? Do you really want a game that doesn't update every so often? Like, do you realize that the opposite, or the counter end of this is a game that just fucking sits there and dies, right? They have to keep up. I mean, not they have to, but in order to keep growing the game, they have to keep releasing new content for the game to keep the veteran players interested and involved, and then hopefully to also draw in new players. Now, one could make the argument that this veteran content or this endgame content doesn't make it easier for them to draw in new players, and I would agree, but just because they're new players to this game, it doesn't mean that they're new players to this genre of game. And if those people who are a fan of this genre, this kind of ARPG-esque, game, if they see that this game has a well-rounded end game and has a lot of content available for players who reach, the top 10, top 20%, that's going to be a really big incentive for them, because this is a grinding game, and this is a game that rewards people who play for a long time. It rewards people who invest their time consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month. And so to further appeal to those players, even though they might not have picked up the game yet, you have to have enough of that content. If there's, if there's a sign that things have just fallen off a cliff and there's no new, fresh stuff, it's going to deter any veteran gamers who are not in this game from even jumping on in the first place. And I know there's the argument about burnout and just too much of a good thing, but I don't think that's really a situation that we have to worry about, so to speak. There's really not that much to have burnout about, and you can play this game every day, without killing too many hours. It's not like WoW or other games where you're investing like 8 hours a day to get through all the content. It's never been that point. And to boot, guys, the fact that they're introducing these epic quests with the Doctor Strange update, and they're introducing like Alliance Battle Hard mode, and they're introducing Shadowlands King of the Hill, it probably means that we're going to get a shortened version of another game mode, because Netmarble has been very, very good at balancing out the gameplay time to not overwhelm the players. When they introduced new stuff, they nerfed Villain Siege from 12 levels down to 3. They killed the daily missions from 5 to 2. They cut the special missions in half by a half hour. So I'm assuming, and even if they don't, it's still okay. But I'm assuming that we will see another reduction to another game mode's time taken to kind of balance things out. And that's a really good sign that the developers are doing that, and that they're keeping track of that, because that's probably the biggest threat to gamers in this type of game when you have more updates and more content. It's burnout. That's about the only coherent argument that I would expect to hear, and sadly it's the one you don't hear. All you hear are people whining that, oh, this is too hard, oh, who are they making this content for? Like, do you guys really think that everyone who plays this game is a drooling fucking idiot? Then who's making the guides that you're following? Who's making the crappy YouTube videos where they're ranting for fucking 10-15 minutes? Guys, think about it. Who? Definitely not Horton. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I am personally really excited for the Shadowlands content, the King of the Hill stuff. I'll definitely record myself competing in it and trying to do my best. Even if I don't win, I don't really care. I mean, I do care deep down as a competitive person, but it's more about just experiencing it and having fun. And I feel like people who just bemoan things because they can't immediately jump into it and fucking kick their feet and splash the water at everybody, they're just kind of being downers. And, if there are too many downers in a community, it can be difficult to, be involved in the community at all. And if you take the community aspect out of most games, they kind of suck. The community is a really big part of it, and I know you guys are just a small part of the Future Fight community here on this channel, but I really do hope that you guys can take something out of this. And if you do have that kind of mentality or that kind of attitude, you may think about, or you may want to think about, why you have that attitude, and if it's really the best one, not only for your own personal enjoyment of the game, but also for the people around you who enjoy the game as well. Shout out as well in the, in the item shop to my gear up. No, not to my gear up. Sorry, to my debris boys. Sorry, boys. I'm a little distracted here with this rant. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to say for today, but I did want to get this out there just because it was kind of bouncing around in my head a little bit. And so that's all for today, guys. If you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.